Hi, this is Brian Whitaker at Wits End Ranch, home of BKW Horsemanship LLC, in the middle of winter in New Germany, Minnesota. A little different video today. I'm going to be mainly working with D, and we're going to do a few things here. I'm going to be working with D while I'm teaching a lesson with cattle. There's D moving. Now, this is going to be quite a much more edited video than normal. Mainly trying to keep the time down on these videos to upload, and then also there's some times during talking over things with a student that I just edited that out. But the edit should be pretty obvious. So there, she's out right now in a 20-acre pasture on one side, 10 acres on the other, and you can see I'm still just trying to draw her up to me. As I started coming out, she was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she started coming up. That's her full sibling. That's her full brother there, Jay. He's a few years younger. And I met her kind of halfway. She came up from quite a ways off there to the right. And she stopped for a little bit, and I just stood there and waited, kind of moved my feet a little bit. And she said, "Okay, I'll come a little bit more." And I said, "Good." Now you can see Jay starting to get all involved. There would have been a time where might have been like, "Hey, don't get so close to me." But you know what? I'm going to need that soon with Jay. I'm going to need him coming up to me like that soon, where I'm going to start working with him pretty consistent. He's short 4-year-old. He's a legitimate 4. He's ready to be started. I've worked with him a little bit. He's on the smaller side, so I waited a little bit with him. But I'll use that. I'll use his curiosity and his friendliness to my advantage. He wasn't like this at all in the beginning when he was young, so I'm not going to kill that by saying, "Hey, get out of here, I'm trying to get D." Now, I've got cattle trapped up here, and I'm going to bring D through, and I'm going to try and get J to stop. And you're going to see a lot of different things taking place, a lot of the groundwork stuff I work on really starting to shape up and take place here. It's a 12-foot gate, and I just need D. I don't actually want J in here. So you're going to see where this following the feel around and getting the hindquarters. See there, I stop and say, "Okay." And as soon as I stop, see how they both stop, but D especially, I said, "Okay, you go ahead, D. Now give me your hindquarters because you're going to have to wait for me, and I'm going to keep J back." Now this is a little tricky because that gate's way over there, and I petted him there. I said, "No, you just wait here. I'm glad you're waiting on me." But I just tipped him that way away from me. And there I said, "Back up a little bit, D, because I don't want this gate to hit you as I close it." See how Jay waits? Now this takes some effort. Jay said, "All right, I'll wait for you." "Sorry, Jay, not your turn yet." And then you're going to see it here too. I'm just got a 2-strand electric wire. See how she stops her feet? She doesn't try and push on me there. That's real important. Here comes, get the nose, here comes the hindquarters. That should look real familiar. And see how she's not pushing on me here? She's just waiting on me. "I don't need you to push me into that electric." That's great. There she came with me on a loose lead rope. She's not trying to push on me, yet she's coming up with me. Yeah, she can look around a little bit. I think I might test her out here and say, "Are you with me?" But I also, if I want you to, see, I'm also aware my lead rope got a little long. Oh, there's an obvious edit. Now, I left this in. It's hard to see, but there's a trailer pulling up. She's not real used to this stuff. This is why I work the hindquarters so much with horses. She's going to rear just a little bit here, and to do that, she's got to get both her hind feet together. Right there. See that, how they're kind of together? And then I'll go back to working them. She's like, "What's going on? There's a horse whinnying over here. There's a trailer, a loud truck and trailer pulling up. This is a lot for me." Plus, this is also after about a month off again. I meant to do a video series on her, and other things got going, and the weather got a little chilly for a while, and so excuses, but that's what it is. It's life. So I just tried to show that a little bit, why the hindquarters is so important, that they have to get their legs together to rear up. Okay, now we're going to be working on cattle a little bit. She's never done this. She's been around them, but I've never done this with her. She really hasn't been too much outside the round pen. Just a little bit. Not very many rides on D here. And we're going to get a plan of action. That's very important. when you're working with horses, especially when you add cattle. Here's the plan. This is what I'd like you to do. And I'll kind of hang back here and help where necessary, but you're in charge here. You direct the cattle. And I always think about working cattle in terms of flowing. How are they going to flow? We started off, I said, there's a gate behind me here, basically where the camera is, and I said, if you wanted these cattle to go out the gate, how would you go? Well, I'd run them up the fence here on this left side and try to cut them back, and I said, well, you could try that, but I would try to get them going around. Now here's a little edit because we did some other stuff, and I'm kind of showing some things here, and I should have, there's a few things I could have done different here. I'm just trying to cut 3 of these cattle off here. Now my horse is starting to shut down a little bit here. She did pretty good, and but I'm in the middle of a lesson, so you kind of stuck with, well, but there had been nothing wrong with just getting off of her and calling it good. There's just nothing wrong with really sticking it out like I did here, but she did really well at points, and then she got a little frustrated, and that can happen with people when you're learning things and you go outside your comfort zone. It can be frustrating, and I've been in the middle of that, teaching lessons, and I try to let people sort that out. Now I'm just trying to get the feet to work for me a little bit here. Hindquarters, trying to get the front to work a little bit, trying to go forward. She's a little sticky going forward. And like I said, definitely not perfect. There's a long ways to go, but I enjoy the ride, literally the ride, and just also the journey trying to get to where I'm improving all the time. Now we're just kind of flowing with the cattle back to our left here. See, she gets a little sticky by that gate. She's like, oh, that's where I go out. And that's where I live. I'm like, no, yeah, but right now we got work to do. I know your buddy's right there, but... And there was moments here where she's really good. She's really tuned in with me, and then I kind of lost it. And that's the way it can go sometimes. Hondo's always willing to work. And it's not that my horse isn't willing to work. She just doesn't understand. So I need to present this in a better way. I'll be better the next time in how I present things. And now I know what better to work on with her in the round pen or in the arena or out and about, and where cattle aren't around, because it adds an element of pressure to them, of a little of, if I've got a job to do and she can feel I'm a little more insistent on certain things. And we talked about this during the lesson. I said, we're just working these cattle, we're just having fun. And when you're doing that, make sure you put your horse first at times, at the majority of the times, where, boy, if you didn't really like the way that turn was or the stop was, we'll work on that. Go back and just work on it. Don't worry about the cattle. They'll be there. So that when you have a job to do with the cattle, your horse is with you. Because there's always that element of stress and extra pressure when you're working with cattle, trying to get them through somewhere. There, a little back, work on that a little bit. Now there's going to be edit here because we stop and kind of chat a little bit. Working some softness, that felt real good, and I let her know that. Let her look around a little bit, that's okay. And then I was real pleased with this. She moved out away from this other horse real well. A lot of horses get sticky towards that other horse. They get like a magnet, even if they don't know them. And she moved out real well. This snow is a lot deeper and crustier than it looks, so you have to allow for that. It's not real easy going until they cut a trail. So you can see a little braciness here. Overall, the ears are up. Overall, it's pretty good. Didn't take much to get her a trot here. It's a little slick in spots, but she did real good. Just kind of riding that trot out. I'm going to go to the gate and open the gate, and we're going to do some other maneuvers here, some other things to work on. You see how I reach way out to help her here. I was pleased with this. I don't know if I left this in the video. How she laterally, like right there, she laterally moved over. See how nice she does that right there? I said, hey, that's real good. We haven't practiced that a whole lot, to actually move your hindquarters towards a gate. A little happy Hondo. See how she waits on me, my horse? She's not trying to knock me over. She's just waiting. She's with me. It's important. I still check my saddle throughout the ride. It was another notch tighter. Good to go. See how my horse waits on me here? Just a little bit of just rearranging her, getting her balanced. But she waits on me. Just trying to get her to kind of move out here. She's sort of wanting to cut back towards that gate. See that right there? She says, let's go back there. I said, no, that's not going to help you going back there. It's going to be more work. And there's a lot of different ways to address that. It wasn't major, so I just kind of cut it off at the pass. She got real bothered by Hondo coming. I mean, she's used to him, but she's kind of used to chasing him too, which I don't like. But when we're out in the pasture, she does that. So she's a little bit like, uh-oh, is this payback? Are you going to get me, dog? But he wasn't concerned about her, but she was. She was like, what are you doing right there? So that's actually a good time to work on that where you don't have to chase him. I'm just waiting while my student kind of does something with the cattle here, which she waited on me real well here. Her and Hondo. See how she wants to cut back? She drops that shoulder. I can feel I want to go back towards that gate. That's not going to help your horse. Now when you're nice and moving forward, I'm real quiet and easy on you. I'm working on a little lateral movement there because I lose that when she's trying to cut back towards the gate. She's a little bothered by it. Yeah, see that? I'm working on that, getting that lateral movement to my left. That was pretty good. And then that freed her up going forward. So don't make me kick on you so much. So my student was having a little trouble. She was trying to get these white cattle back out that gate I opened. And cattle are smart. They use that little hay bale like they're hiding from you. And so what she would do is she'd try and get a couple of cattle. That wouldn't work, so she tried to get a couple other. That wouldn't work, so she tried to get a couple others. And I said, no, you almost made it. You just have to start with one or two and then get the others. We're trying to get these two white ones and this black one to go out the gate. And I said, if you get their heads started out where you want to go, you're in the right direction. That's a start. And I'm just backing away from that little tree there. I have that tree there on purpose so they can rub an itch on something. It's a pine tree, an evergreen. That I said, oh, don't run into that. Back away. That's why backing and moving is so important. See, there's that good forward movement. I was happy with that. She got real free, and then she gets a little sticky. And you just have these moments where they're not with you, and then the moments where they are. And like I said, this is probably a little bit, maybe a little much for her at this point, especially with a month off, but here we are. I'm just going to make sure I end on a good note, trying to get this British white cow headed out towards that gate. They're playing a little game here. Now the black one's going to cut back. Now I've got him. Now I'm going to ease off the cattle and ease off my horse a little bit. Say, you're doing a good job. The dog Hondo's going to help me out a little bit. It seems real simple working with cattle, and the basics, the idea can be, but here's obvious another edit. And that was just a little bit of chatting about what needed to be done, what I did. Here I'm tipping my horse back and then forward again. And see that tail come up? She's a little bit irritated, so I just say, well, let's go. Let's move these two out then. Okay, so my student got those two cut out real well, and I said, all right, I'll take those two or three and send them out the gate. You can see how she's kind of leaning on me there a little bit. She's wanting to always get sucked back towards that open gate. She's got a little frustrated there. It's a little deep. Just hang in there. And I'm kind of going in between where she's feeling good, she's wanting to move out, which is fine, to I need some control of your feet, though. Like here, she said, okay, let's keep going. I said, no, that's good enough. Off they go. So I just let her move out, and then I just try to tip her hindquarters around, see how she gets a little sticky here. There I got the hindquarters. One way, a little bit the other way. Like I said, we're moving out of the comfort zone. There, and then when things feel good, see how she kind of took over there? She said, let's double back. When things feel good, I just give her loose rein, I pet her, and I give her an opportunity to, I don't want to say make a mistake, but, if that's what she feels like she needs to do, then I'll correct it. I'll try and correct it before, but you got to make sure you give them an opportunity to do what you want. So loose rein, moving out. And then if they make the mistake and try to go back, then you address it. And there's times you have to get ahead of that more, but in that case it felt good. See that stickiness there? See, not really paying attention too well. She doubled back on me, and I said, oops, get off my phone.
You're supposed to keep that one back.
See how she gets sticky? She says, I can't go forward. And then I'm also trying to, direct my student a little bit. So it takes the attention off. There's better movement. It comes and goes. There she was all right. And also, she feels those cattle flowing back. That's not uncommon. She feels them flowing. She feels like she's got to go with them. I say, no, those aren't your concern right now. Just stand here now. Well, she did well. And as I review this and watch, there's things that's like, oh, I can do that better next time. And, maybe in 6 months, a year from now, I'll be much better at certain things here and there. I was waiting on my student to work with this cow a little bit. I'm trying to get her where she can get that cow moving back the other way, which is a pretty advanced, pretty tough move when all the other cattle are going out. And so I'm going to move in and help. And it gets a little rough in here. And sometimes there's parts of this where, whether you're working on yourself or your horse or whatever, that it gets a little rough. But the important thing is not to give up right there. Maybe try something different, but you can't just give up and be done. You got to end on a good note. Get out of that comfort zone. And I was real pleased with my horse here. I just said, wait, now go. She went. That's real deep, crusty snow. She went. Now wait again, because that cow stopped, so we stopped. She leaned back a little bit. That's good. She's not trying to run off. She's looking that way, but that's fine. Wish she would have felt that cow a little more, but that's okay. She kind of got going the wrong way there. You can see she's a little bit frustrated with me. That's all right. She knows she needs to do something. She's just not understanding what. And I maybe should have let her made a few more mistakes and not worried about it. That cow's not going anywhere. If she does, who cares in this case? So there's a few things I could have done better. There I'm trying to get the hindquarters. That worked out well. I said, okay, good enough. Now stand here. Not like that. I could have just let that cow go a little bit and maybe just doing a little bit too much here. And that's hard to do, shut that off when we go, oh, we don't care about this cow. Just work on the horse. See, I'm trying to get the front end around and a little sticky, and she's a little frustrated. She's like, oh, I can't move it. So it's not like she's really, doing anything bad. She's just not really understanding. She's a little frustrated.
What is this?
And here in a little bit, I'm going to recognize that right there and say, okay, let's just get your hindquarters. Now let's just go forward. I'll quit asking to go left and right and do all this stuff. A little sticky, a little frustrated. The tail's telling me a little bit of that. I can feel it. There, we'll just stand there while I give some instructions. And she got a little frustrated, and I said, all right, let's just come around here a little bit. This is where I should have just quit. I should have just quit on this cow. It was good enough. My mare was starting to get a little frustrated. Now I had her coming back, and it's not that, oh, I'm losing, or oh, the horse is winning. I don't think in those terms at all. I just think of terms of she's kind of had enough. It's not that I couldn't gone back later and worked on it, but you have to recognize it. To me, that's part of being a good horseman is recognizing things where you know when to get out and know when to come back and work on something else. If you can hear that horse in the background kind of frantically hollering, but stuff like that can affect him. Again, these aren't excuses. These are just things that affect him. That they get, they feel that. They're aware of that stuff. You see, he's getting a little frustrated with me. But again, if I'm not understanding that was a real good turn there. See, now that would have been a good place just to kind of get out of and let her be. But if I'm not recognizing that she's frustrated, these are some warning signs. I could have, all of a sudden maybe like here, she's getting pretty frustrated with me, and all of a sudden if I push and push and push, and pretty soon my horse takes off or flips over, I hear people say, "Oh, out of nowhere." Well, no, it's not. They've been warning you. She's been warning me all along, and it's not like I'm gonna do something. She just said I'm frustrated. See that? She's been warning me about that for a while. So I said, "All right, let's work on this here a little bit. Let's get the hindquarters. You remember how to do that. Let's forget the cattle for a minute.
That's where I'll switch it up. If my horse is kind
Just
of
get forward."
mentally starting to shut down.
Sometimes, you have to go.
Okay, I'll
I'd
forget about the cattle.
prefer not to go through something like
I
that,
gotta go back
but
here.
sometimes you have to go through that a little bit.
Forget about the cattle. We're just practicing.
There. Now if I can at least, okay, I'll meet you halfway here. I'll just stand here in a loose rein. I'll go forward a little bit.
But if you can't get your turns right, work on the turns.
You see the tail's up. I've talked about the tail in other videos a lot. The tail tells a lot.
Just completely free it up.
So I'm just working on this, trying to get her to go forward a little bit. So don't worry about the cattle. There, I got her back. Just like that. It could have been kind of ugly, especially if I would have made that a big deal. I mean, I don't ever want a horse to pop up like that, but she'd been warning me. And if I was a little more concentrated on my horse and less on the cattle, I could have addressed that. But okay, so that happened. Now let's work on the forward and see how free she got here. Probably the most free she's been here in a while. Just moving, just going wherever I want her to go. I said, okay, at least let's go down here. Don't worry about the gate. See, I just got one hand on her, just riding around, ears up. Like that didn't even happen, and that's so important. They can get over that stuff so fast. She'd been warning me, and then she popped up a little bit, so I did some things, and she got over that just like it never happened. So that's where I at least need to catch up and get to that point. Just act like it never happened. Because look at it now. She's circling, no big deal, right? Looks like just grandma's broke horse here. Just got out of that comfort zone. Like I said, maybe I could have done things to help her out to prevent that, but it happened. And now I say, okay, now I'll go back to that. We'll go to that place you always want to go, and then we'll kind of come back this way. And don't make it such a bad thing. Reach back, pet them. The student made a point of saying, you know what? It's really hard to reach down and pet them when they're trotting off or they're leaving. And I said, that's right, because you can't squeeze and you can't pull and do all that and pet at the same time. We're not as talented as we think. Humans can't do it. So uh, that's the reason, I pet. Plus, it's good for the horse. There's a little hiccup there, not bad, but for the most part, she's just going exactly where I want to go on a loose rein. Right after that little hiccup there with kind of rearing up. See, and she walks by another horse, no problem. She'd been kind of infatuated with the other horse. She doesn't get to see a whole lot of new horses a whole lot. I haven't ridden her around horses a lot, so now she's a little bit there. No big deal. Kind of let her come back and then go the other way. See, she's kind of like, I want to go back this way. So I said, okay, let's trot off. If we're going to go that way, let's go. Right there. A little sticky there. I said, all right, just trying to go left and right a little bit. Just trying to free her up. And then back to a loose rein. So, little video on what I was working with D. Hope you got something out of that. If you got any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.